baby. And we gotta keep it hype.
Keep it hype.
Represent it for life. You know how we do it. Woo! Hey. Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. Too much for your crew to handle.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Club Jaguar, your favorite Jaguar show every Wednesday. Actually, maybe not every Wednesday night. Okay, that's been my fault. That's been my apologies. I've had my own different personal stuff going on where we haven't been able to run it, but we are so back today, guys. We are so back. I want to give a quick shout out to this video and this stream sponsor, BetUS, guys. BetUS has a lot of exciting stuff going on over there. College football playoff odds out right now. That's pretty cool. Even Travis Hunter, #1 overall pick odds. Who is a favorite team to land at Travis Hunter? You know, we're gonna check that out a little bit later. It actually is the Jaguars. We'll see what the Jaguars are odds on later, and all that good stuff. Just want to, you see if your mic is muted. I don't think so. But yeah, just want to give a shout out to BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus. And as always, I got my guys out here joining me. I got Jason from Jaguars United. What up, Jason?
Hey, not much, man. Just feeling good. We got a Jags win, baby. Let's go. How can you not be pumped? Yeah,
dude. When I saw the Jaguars win that game, we improved to 3-10. I didn't know what to do with myself. I couldn't sleep. It's a victory Wednesday stream out here. And we also got joining us. We got Jordan from Gen Jag. What's going on, Jordan?
What up? It's always a victory when we get together on Wednesday night. Hit the club.
I know.
Right.
I think while the Jaguars were 3-10, I think we're 10-3. I think we've only missed like 2 or 3 shows. So we're definitely winning up in here. But yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let me get the names right. Boom. There we have it. So the Jaguars on Sunday defeated the Tennessee Titans 10-6. 10-6. Okay. 1 touchdown score. The Jaguars did not score any points until the fourth quarter, but I guess they were the team that sucked a little bit less, and the Jaguars earned a victory. So I want to go around the table. You know, Jordan, after this game, I guess, what were some of your overall thoughts coming away from it?
I mean, I feel like it's another one where it was really just more about the other team just not coming to play in a big way on a lot of fronts, kind of like the Minnesota game. Except, you know, the Jaguars won this game. It wasn't really about the Jags playing all that well on either side of the ball consistently, in my opinion.
How about you, Jason?
Man, thrilling game. What I did think was funny, because I went back and I had to work late last night, so I didn't get to do a live show where I broke down the film, but I broke down the film before that. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was in the third quarter when we started force feeding Brian Thomas Jr. the ball. You could see the defense from the Titans actually move into a cover 2 and like back people up off the line of scrimmage. And then we started running the ball down their throats, which led to a field goal. Then the very next drive led to a touchdown. So it's like crazy how when you force feed your best wide receiver the ball instead of waiting till the second half, that it actually opens up everything on the offense. It's wild that it took this long to figure that out. But imagine that it works if you do that.
Isn't that insane just how, like, you know, you have Christian Kirk out, you have, you know, Gabe Davis out, you have these different players out, and it's like, why is it not in your game plan just to force feed this guy? I mean, bad teams even know to do it. I mean, the Giants know how to do it with Malik Neighbors. For some reason, we don't do it with Brian Thomas Jr., and all of a sudden you target him, and, like, you manufacture touches for him, and just really good things happened. And, yeah, that was I don't know. It was frustrating. But I will say it was also, I thought, a pretty good day for the Jaguars rookie class in general. Jarian Jones had his best day as a Jaguar. Mason Smith is finally kind of active and making some plays. Jordan, I want to hear from you, man. How do you feel about, I guess, the Jaguars rookie class after this game?
Well, The Mason Smith saga has been bewildering basically since day one. It's been confusing. But seeing him out on the field, I mean, he got the most snaps of any of the interior defensive linemen for the Jaguars on Sunday. And he's far from perfect at this point. Like, he's still got a lot to learn from an assignment standpoint and just making sure he's technically sound. But he's making some splash plays. He's making an impact, and you're able to see the talent every time he's on the field. And that's exciting. You just wish maybe he was on the field more this year so he could develop further and be more ready to have a bigger role in 2025. But that's the same thing you saw last year with Strange and with Bigsby. So it's really bizarre. And then obviously feeding Brian Thomas Jr. the ball opens up the run game. Like Jason said, who would have thought? And then Jarian Jones, I think, has been really, I mean, he's been the one guy that they really have given an opportunity to in this rookie class to come out, obviously, and play a lot from the jump besides Brian Thomas Jr. And he's just grown and developed and made good plays. And he's been a good blitzer. He's been a good run defender. He's been solid in coverage. He's making plays. So kudos to those guys for getting the job done.
Yeah. How about you, Jason? How do you feel about it all?
You're gonna get me riled up. I'm gonna try to keep my composure.
Hey, let's hear it, man. We need some energy up in the club, okay?
I just can't understand why the incompetence and the arrogance of this coaching staff. Like why is Mason Smith just now getting a bunch of snaps? Like why is Jarian Jones just now blitzing off of the edge? Like, why is it taking until the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter to go to this no huddle, hurry up offense where our offense has been successful every game this year? Like, it makes no sense to me how these coaches are digging in their heels on their strategy when we just got our third win. It just blows my mind that the arrogance of this staff. And I'm the last one to get on coaches. I'm a coach myself. I defend coaches. I say this a billion times. It's more Jimmys and Joes than X's and O's. But the fact that we are seeing productivity out of certain styles on this team throughout the entire year, and game after game after game, they don't make the adjustments because they want to do what they do, just absolutely baffles me. And it just furthers the point that we need an entirely new coaching staff with a brand new set of eyes to look at this roster, because it's just the Titans are bad. The Patriots are bad. The Colts are bad. Like, the teams that we beat are bad. But this team is not as bad as their record. And the fact that these coaches can't identify that, it's an insult to our intelligence to go up on the podium and say the things they say and do the things that they do. It blows my mind that we're even in this position talking about this right now.
So speaking of, coaches on the podium, I thought it was really interesting today. Doug Peterson, and he's talked about this like every single week. We just got to remember to run the ball. We got to stick with it. It's like, you've been talking about this every single week for 3 years. I mean, how does that add up? Like, you're saying that you need to stick with the run, but you never do. How does that add up at all? I don't know. And then the only time you actually do stick with the run in the fourth quarter is when the Miami Dolphins are surging back to come and beat you. It just doesn't make any sense.
So I'm like confused. So, like, obviously Doug Peterson, he's won a Super Bowl, and obviously 2022 happened with the Jaguars, and then now just feels like there's so much incompetence going on. I'm like, do you guys feel like Doug Peterson is an actual good football coach, or do you think that, like, do you think he's given up? Like, how would you assess this coaching job? Because I would have never thought we'd see just such a flat offense, such an uncreative offense out of him, just because I always thought, especially with him on the Eagles, you always had to play sheet out. It looked like he was a mad scientist out here. And then all of a sudden we're just not we're not playing players. We're not putting guys in positions to succeed. We just seem so vanilla. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. I think he really, I think that he doesn't have a lot of faith in the players on the team. Wow. And that has hamstrung his ability to coach properly. I think that and I also think, and he's said this, he's not going to coach his team as if they're average or if he's going to coach them as if they're an elite team. and let the chips fall where they may. And that's not what some young teams need. I mean, you got to be able to read the field, read the room, and be able to coach to the talent level, be able to coach to the confidence level. And I don't think he does that at all. I think that he honestly thinks it's on the players more than on the coaches, and he's dead wrong about that.
I think we need an overhaul at GM. Don't get me wrong. Like, we need an overhaul at GM, but you can't produce a team that's in the bottom of every statistical category, offense and defense, and make a case he's a good coach. Like, you just cannot do it. Like, the discrepancy between the best player in the NFL and the worst player in the NFL is not so large that you can't coach your team to be at least middle of the road in one statistical category. And the Jags are at the bottom in everything, offense and defense. So I can't even hear a case that the coaches are good. There's no way you can do it. Like, you could take the worst practice squad team out there and you could game plan to at least be decent somewhere. And we can't do it anywhere across the board. So no, the players aren't good. Don't get me wrong, but like, the coaches aren't good either. So we're in a bad spot with this current regime. And I just pray that we make the changes we need to make.
To me, it's not that the players aren't good, but it's like there's obvious roster management holes. Like, there's a lot of good players on both sides of the ball for the Jaguars, but they have mismanaged the roster. And it really comes down to the lack of a unified vision, which is, again, why both the front office and the coaching staff need a major overhaul. You have to have a unified vision with an organization, and they do not have that. Yeah. Clearly, Mason Smith is a prime example of that. Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby last year, prime examples of that, right?
Yeah, and you need like a GM and head coach just be lock and step. Like, if you want to be a successful organization, you need that. And right now, it's clear that the Jaguars don't have that. And when you look at things like, like Brian he's not utilizing his draft picks. Like, there's no reason why Brian Thomas Jr. shouldn't get any targets until the second half. There's no reason. All the weirdness with Mason Smith, how healthy scratch and all of a sudden an ankle injury popped up. And it does feel like with this roster, it's like there are some good individual pieces. You know, Tyson Campbell, when he's healthy, he's a great cornerback. We have edge rushers and Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. That's a better duo than most NFL teams have. You have, Trevor Lawrence. You have, ETN.
You have talented linebackers.
What's that?
Talented linebackers.
Yeah,
talented tackles. Talented tight end room.
You have, talented tight end. You have, and we've seen even when Evan Ingram got hurt, all of a sudden Brenton Strange came out of nowhere and he started playing really well. And then since Evan Ingram's come back, we haven't seen much of him. It's just like, I don't understand, like, and it's not like this roster is great, but, right now it just feels like Doug Peterson isn't utilizing the talent to the best way he can. Like, there's no way this roster is 3-10. Maybe this roster is a 500 roster. Maybe it's that but that's a pretty far away from 3-10. And, especially now we're going to start maybe picking up some crappy wins at the end of the season now that we're out of it. But and we're in this weird spot where, like, we're all like, okay, need a new head coach, a new GM, but we're in December and nothing's happened yet. I mean, we've seen the Saints, the Bears, the Jets fire their head coaches. The Jets have a completely clean house. They fired their head coach and GM. And we're kind of sitting here like thinking about who we want as a head coach, who we want as a GM, but we haven't done anything yet. And obviously, Shad Khan is a very tricky person to get into his head because, there's some owners out there who are trigger happy. They get guys in and out of there. Shad Khan isn't that. And we feel like there is going to be some change that happens, but does he only get rid of Doug? Does he only get rid of Trent? Does he does he fire everybody but promotes Ethan Wall to GM, and then all of a sudden he's out there looking for a head coach? Like, we don't know yet. And that's what's so scary right now, because we're sitting here talking about Ben Johnson. We're talking about these candidates, but nothing's really happened yet. So it's all on Shad Khan right now, unfortunately. It's all on Shad Khan to be able to pull the trigger and do something. But I know right now, when I look at it, I feel like the big issue with this team right now is a coaching issue, which I think is better than a roster issue, because you can kind of overhaul your coaching staff. And, even when you do get a good GM, a new GM in here, at least I feel like you have a decent starting point with the roster. I don't know how you guys feel, Jordan. Do you feel like we're having right now more of a coaching issue than a roster issue?
I think it's solidly both. I really do. And the Jaguars, from a roster building standpoint, what they have done, in my opinion, is, and this is on Trent Baalke for the most part, they have, like, every year they try for the most part to go in and say, we're not going to have any glaring holes. But they also don't really build a specific strength in their roster either. Like, where can you look and see a really complete unit outside of linebacker, which has had its ups and downs, outside of Foye?
Yeah.
Like, what is a complete unit on the team? Like, yes, there are good players in each unit, but what is a complete unit?
I could argue maybe tight end, but I don't think we're utilizing tight ends right.
Yeah,
Like,
and look,
I think
tight end
Ingram,
isn't going to win you a championship.
that's true.
You're obviously missing out on kicker and punter. Come on, guys.
Yes,
We got some
absolutely.
good kickers and
Hey.
punters.
Hey, we have a
Hey,
long
special
snapper too,
teams.
Pro Bowl long
Yeah,
snapper.
we got special teams.
Special teams.
Special
Keith
teams were
Farwell
solid.
locked it down. Obviously, he's done a great job coaching those guys, and they've got great talents on special teams. You're right. I
I
apologize.
think and listen, I'm gonna speak to all Jags fans, including you two. I think some of you guys are prisoners of the moment on specific highlight plays, and I think some of you are severely overrating this roster. Like, I legitimately, Jordan kind of spoke. It's both of them. I don't think this roster is as good as you guys think. Like, they make good plays here and there, but they're wildly inconsistent. Trevor Lawrence is wildly inconsistent. We would call him a good quarterback. The problem is, across the board, we don't have guys that show up game in and game out that perform and do their job every single play outside of Brian Thomas. And it truly is that. And you see Devin Lloyd make a good play. You see Ventrell Miller make a good play. Even Tyson Campbell, who has been one of the better ones. But this roster is full of inconsistent players, and the NFL is full of good players, but the great players are consistent. And we just lack any consistency across the board on any position. And that's what gives you a 3-win team. And
I also think that that's on coaching too, though. Inconsistencies
I agree.
oftentimes lead back
I'm not
to
setting the
coaching.
blame off of coaching, but
Yeah.
I do not think this roster is as good as people think. And
I think it's close to being really good.
I think there needs to be more overhaul if we want to be a playoff team than people are willing to admit, because they want to say that the Jags are close and a few changes here and there will get us there. But I think this roster is severely deficient of star talent. And if you look across the board in the league of the teams that are all consistently playoff teams, they have star talent at multiple positions, and we have star talent at maybe one or two. And until
I agree. And that's also kind of like, not only is it not complete groups on the team, but it's also maybe a group that does look complete doesn't actually have the star in that group. They just have a bunch of decent guys.
I mean,
And so
the proof is in the pudding on wins and losses. Like,
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding. We have 3 wins against 3 terrible teams.
I think that at least 3 of the games that they lost directly were on coaching decisions.
And all the one-score
Absolutely.
losses, I think a lot of those come down to coaching, man. And I think a big thing comes down to also the fact that, like we've seen Trevor Lawrence play good football, but, we're having another year. 2023 was a down year. Now 2024 was another down year. And, the Jaguars get this guy. Okay, take Trevor Lawrence before he was on the Jaguars. Generational. He can make all the throws. He's the next best thing. And then he comes to the Jaguars organization, and we've seen some of those things, but for the most part, there's been inconsistencies. There's been now, he's kind of dealing with these different injuries that I don't think have been very fair to him, unfortunately. But the Jaguars have not been able to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence. And man, if he can just get that one position good, if he can just make Trevor Lawrence continue to play at his ceiling and, making it to where he's putting together 4, 5, 6 straight games, maybe only have one down game every 7 or 8 games, then we're going to be a good freaking team. But
he needs more help.
Yeah.
And to me,
help.
The most egregious thing that there has been is the lack of outside receiver talent. In Jacksonville since he's been here.
We haven't been
now you
drafting
have it
it.
with Brian
We
Thomas
haven't been
Jr.
drafting it.
Now you have one with Brian Thomas Jr. You need another one.
And they've been
This
going
roster,
to the bargain bin and getting like
Yeah.
Zay Jones and
Gabe
Gabe Davis. They've been
Yeah.
when honestly that position can be filled with like a 3rd or 4th round pick, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And honestly, Evan Ingram's skill set and Christian Kirk's skill set and where they're utilized on the field are somewhat overlapping. So I don't think they've gotten the most out of the allocation of resources to the pass catchers because they both play in the middle intermediate area of the field. If you go get, whether it's through the draft or free agency, a legitimate outside starter to play opposite Brian Thomas Jr., I think that you will see a big improvement. I also think you have got to upgrade the interior of the offensive line. Obviously, Ezra Cleveland is going to start next year, but he has played well and he creates push in the run game. You need some nasty dudes on the interior. They don't have that outside of Ezra Cleveland right now.
So that's
I think if you do those two things offensively, you're going to have some legitimate answers.
all right. So I wanted to ask you this, Jordan. And this is a good transition to that. Your tweet earlier has Will Campbell at center. So that would be drafting Will Campbell high and plugging him at center, replacing Mitch Moore. So give us your justification. And you also have Tyler Booker at right guard. So what's your
that was just like the
justification
ultimate, we're going to make sure this offensive line, our trenches in front of Trevor, not only protecting him, but also creating push in the run game. Because Will Campbell, he's 320 pounds and he's nasty. He's physical. He gets on the move. Tyler Booker is also like the best mauler in this class at guard, bar none. And so I just think if you look at that and pair them with Ezra Cleveland on the interior, now you have an interior O-line. And I think Walker Little's done a good job creating push at the point of attack as well. You have 4 dudes that are just going to push and push and push. So you're going to get your run game going and you're going to be able to protect Trevor Lawrence in a big way. That would be my justification for it. Is taking a center in the first round probably ridiculous? Yes, but I don't think that's not the pick I would make at 5.
And you know what's funny? So if we want to revisit
I just was looking at it from if you're going to do everything you can to really make this offensive line as good as it can be, that's what you do.
And you know what's funny is Brock Bowers got pushed down the draft because he's a tight end. And now he's playing absolutely electric football for the Raiders. But, he got bumped down because he was a tight end. But, man, if that guy was drafted earlier, he absolutely been worth it. And like Jason was saying, the Jaguars need more star power. Like, we need more guys where, we have a top 3 player at this position, and that position. Not just, we can't take a center here because it's not good to take a number 5. We need to take a cornerback, and the cornerback winds up being a good player, a solid starter, but not the next level player because, Quentin, Jason Kelsey is a great center. He's a game changer. Having Quentin Nelson, I know Quentin Nelson's had an on and off career, but, having Quentin Nelson play at his top level, he's an absolute mauler. There's no doubt that he's worth that pick. So
yeah,
I'm almost, and they made the same argument now with Travis Hunter potentially being picked number 1 overall. No cornerback is taken there or whatever. I don't even care about positions anymore. You go get the best freaking player, and if that guy is elite, if that guy is the best at this position, he's going to help you win football games. Not just getting a guy because he checks a box that's a cornerstone position. It's I'm almost out of that mindset now when it comes to doing that.
I agree. Folks that just want to reach for need, that's how you build not a great roster. And there's other ways to build a not so great roster as well. But you can't take a player that's in tier 3 for you over a player in tier 1 because the player in tier 3 is at a position of need or is at a position that's considered more valuable. You got to take the best players you can get.
Yeah. And rosters turn over so quickly. I mean, 2 years ago, the Jaguars, at interior offensive line had Luke Fortner, who we thought was good, and Brandon Sheriff. It's interior offensive line isn't a need at all. And then 1 or 2 years later, it's a huge need now. That's a huge thing that the Jaguars need to address. So, what might not stand out as a huge need right now, these guys, when you draft them, they have 4 years of a rookie contract, man. They are going to be needed at some point. And now, you're kind of in a situation where it sucked that this happened, but the Jaguars drafted Parker Washington, in the 5th or 6th round. That would have basically made Christian Kirk expendable. They were about to trade him to the Steelers, And unfortunately, he suffered his injury, so the Jaguars couldn't do that. He has the biggest dead cap hit next year. Like, drafting these guys allows you to eventually replace guys that are making a lot of money, and all of a sudden it frees up money to go spend in other spots that maybe you missed in the draft, because that's what free agency is about. Free agency is about being able to, nail and get guys that you weren't able to fill in the draft. And yeah, that's what the Jaguars need to do. And then I got a question for you guys. So we haven't talked since, and I know we've had some opinions about this, but Walker Little a couple weeks ago signed a new deal with the Jaguars, a 3-year deal. Does this take the first of all, I want to know from each of you, do you think this is a good move? And also, do you think this takes the Jaguars out of contention to draft at offensive tackle in the first round? We'll start with Spicy Jason.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't love it. And I already know what Jordan's going to say. I was kind of hoping he was going to go first, so I could just pick apart what he's going to say.
That's why I'm making you go first.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think it does take us out of contention for a left tackle. Yeah, there's the potential you draft a guy, plug him in somewhere else on the offensive line, develop him, push him somewhere later. Yeah, that's there, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think that they're going to go for a skill position probably. And it all depends on who's picking the pick, right? I mean, if it's this current regime, they're going to go skill position because they're going to be happy with the offensive line they currently have, because they've shown that they're happy with the offensive line they currently have. So
Brennan Sheriff running back.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will. The thing that gets me the most, and this is going to be unpopular, don't care. The thing that gets me the most about Walker Little was his just apathy during the brawl with the Texans. I want my offensive. Can you imagine if Cam Robinson was on the team when that brawl went down? He would have murdered Alshea here. So that's what I want. I want a dog. And Walker Little was, oh, come on, guys, let's all love each other. No, I want my left tackle in there fighting, getting in there, causing problems. And I know not popular, and maybe there's no film study behind this, but I want a dog at my tackle position. And I wasn't happy seeing that. I'd love to be proved wrong. And I'm sure Jordan will try to convince me that I'm wrong about Walker Little left tackle. But I want to be proved wrong about Walker Little at left tackle, but I don't love it because I've gotten to watch him. I've gotten to see him even in little spurts. And it's not a guy that I'm like, okay, I'm cool with him protecting Trevor. So don't love it. Hope to be proved wrong.
All right, Jordan, I'm sure you 100% agree, right?
For sure. Yeah. For Walker Little.
All right.
No, I think Walker Little is a good football player. What's interesting about this specific situation, and Walker Little was the only one that ran over to Trevor Lawrence and was actually trying to check on Trevor versus getting in a fight. So like he's there trying to check on Trevor. I'm good with that if you go back and watch it. Now, when it comes to the signing, do I think that signing Walker Little to this deal could represent the absolute best possible outcome at tackle this offseason? No. I don't.
This is the most political answer I've ever heard in my entire life, Jordan.
No, I'm being fucking real with you, dude.
Tell us how you feel, all right?
I think that this was probably the Jaguars' second best option, and the only better option would have been to be able to sign Garrett Bowles, and you have no idea if he's going to hit free agency. And even if he does, he's a 32-year-old player. You never know when he's going to fall off a cliff, and he's probably going to cost close to $30 million.
You could have drafted one. You could have bumped Anton to left and drafted one.
Here's my question for you. Who are you drafting to play left tackle in 2025 that is a better football player than Walker Little?
Will Campbell.
He's not as good as a tackle as Walker Little. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, he's a rookie. Walker Little's been in the league for 18 years. He can't get on the field.
He does not have the physical skill set to thrive at the tackle position that Walker Little has.
I think Anton Harrison's a better left tackle, probably.
Okay. Again, who are you drafting that is going to be better at both tackle spots? Like, you have a situation now where you have two quality starters. You're not drafting, in my opinion.
He's got quality for years.
Tell me the right tackle that you are drafting that is going to play better football.
Will Campbell.
Will Campbell is not a tackle in the league.
He could be.
He's not going to be.
I mean, you could sit there and convince me that Walker Little is your franchise left tackle. I'm sorry. Like, I've seen him enough to know what he is. And it's
okay,
yes, he
we've
has
seen
some
him
good-
enough to know that he is blocking at a 97.3 pass rush efficiency, that he's creating more push in the run game than Cam Robinson ever did, that he's playing with more consistency in
He just
both
might-
facets of the game.
He just might step on Trevor Lawrence's leg and break it. But if we're
Cam
cool with that-
Robinson did the same thing 2 years ago, and we thought Trevor Lawrence was going to miss a shit ton of time after they lost to the Lions, embarrassingly, when Cam Robinson absolutely whiffed on a rookie who just got cut by the Lions. And James Houston got ghost moved by a rookie 7th round pick or undrafted free agent.
But
And
to
Trevor
sit there
Lawrence
and-
gets spun around like a rag doll. And I mean, you're talking out of both ends of your mouth right now.
I'm not talking both ends of my mouth. You just sat there and told me it was their second best option with
Yes,
who
what
they
was the
currently
better
have on their
option
roster.
besides Garrett Bowles?
You can't go out. You can't explore free agency. You could
Tell-
go bring Walker
I
Little
have.
back.
I have. Go look at the free agent options. Walker Little probably would have gotten more money in the free agent market because there's literally no other free agent options. I'll tell you right now, it's Garrett Bowles, it's Teron Smith, who cannot stay healthy, and no one else. Kelvin Beachum, is that what you want?
I love Kelvin
He's
Beachum.
36
back.
years
the good
old.
old days. The good old days.
Jason, I think you're just arguing to argue right now.
And I'm not. I'm not. The point I'm arguing is that you can't convince me that Walker Little is our option long term to be our left tackle.
But the thing, it's not a long-term deal, though. It's a 3-year deal. It's almost like a Band-Aid.
2-year out.
2-year out. So it I mean, for me, it reads okay.
Tell me who you want. You want Cam Robinson back? Yeah, that's what you want.
Listen, I'm a Cam Robinson fan. I'm telling you, I don't want him back.
You want to try to sign Ronnie Stanley, who can't stay healthy? You want to try to sign Teron Smith, who can't stay healthy? Cornelius Lucas, is that an attractive option?
I mean, for me, this deal just makes it to where you're not going to have to overpay for a left tackle in free agency. That's what.
And you're not going to have to swing for one in the first round of the draft that doesn't deserve to be drafted there.
All right, so good. We got Walker Little. We'll win 3 games next year. Cool. I'm good with that. Yeah,
dude,
that's the better option.
Backwards logic.
All right, so that was fun. And by the way, I think I almost broke my mouse during that segment. So luckily, it's back after plugging back to back.
I mean, while I'm on a roll, can I go off topic on another thing that's kind of pissing me off?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind. Okay. All right. The Evan Ingram, my cleats, my dream or thing. Okay. Can we for a second here? Like all the hype he got for, he donated $9,100 to this school, this North Florida special education school. What a guy. He donated $9,000. He's making $14 million a year. Okay.
Underpaid.
That's 0.07% of his yearly salary. I did the math. That would be like me, who affects me more. I don't make $14 million a year, donating $56. And we're gonna sit here and hype up Evan Ingram for donating.
Did you?
I've Venmoed my buddy $100 to go out and drink. That's double. All right.
That's not quite the same
that's
thing.
A write-off.
That's
a write-off.
Given to special ed people too, right? So I just like, what are we sitting here doing? What are we doing here? And Arik Armstead's the Walter Payton Player of the Year. This franchise is
that was terribly timed too. It was right after he liked the Aziz post, and then I was like, dude, this is the Jaguar season in a nutshell. It really is.
That's the Jaguars ownership or franchise under Shad Khan.
And how about right before Trevor got hit, they're talking about his, I don't know, what is it, the hospital kid stuff, and then he gets hit. He only slid 14 yards too early. Should have slid a little bit earlier. We
have to watch the commercials of him doing stadiums when he's not even on the field.
You know what I didn't like about that hit though is they kept replaying it. I'm like, dude, I don't want to see this hit anymore. Like they replayed the hit like at least 20 times. I would say on a broadcast. It's like, dude, this is. A lot of times hits are so egregious where they won't re-show it. I'm like, why are we keep showing this? I don't know. I had a gear to grind on that one.
Yeah.
So a couple super chats. We got 2 $5 super chats waiting for us. We have Shane says, love all 3 channels. The fire bulky billboard is coming. Hell yeah. I saw the GoFundMe going out there. Speaking of GoFundMe's, what's called the real Irish madman says Urban was an awful coach, but even he told Shad Khan to hire Ben Johnson. I don't know if that's good or bad though. Okay, so a little context since we're all friends here. We're all in the inner circle. I had a subscriber. His name was Shane. He paid Urban Meyer for a cameo, and basically Urban Meyer read that. And my dad was like, I'm surprised he would, read something like that for, a couple $100. I'm like, Dad, Urban Meyer has no conscience. He does not give a crap about like where this video goes or what happens. Like he will read anything. And I think, what was it? I think the cameo cost like $300. He doesn't care. So yeah, he read that. It was hilarious. It threw Twitter into, everywhere was like, what is this? What is this? People thought it was AI. It was not AI. It was a cameo, but it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome to put out there. And it's just funny that Urban Meyer would, first of all, that he has a cameo, and also that he would read that. I thought it was
totally unsurprising that he has a cameo.
Yeah, $300. That's like probably a bar tab to him. Like he's just like, I'll pay for drinks tonight.
I wonder how much he paid that night in Cincinnati. I wonder what his bar tab was that night. Shout out to Tay904 says, love Jordan's draft content. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. Top picks for us now will be Johnson, Mason, Graham, T-Mac, Jaguar draft number 5 right now. And yeah, guys, Jordan has a bunch of draft content on his channel right now. You said you just came out with a mock draft, Jordan?
I mean, I've done a mock. Yeah, I've done many. We did one on Monday.
Jordan's look, we're in offseason mode. We're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. We mathematically eliminated the Titans from the playoffs in our toilet bowl pillow fight matchup last Sunday. So
it's the 3rd straight year one of those teams has eliminated each other from the playoffs.
Dude, I just hope so bad.
Pretty wild.
Like, I hope so bad the Colts can go like 4-0 and the Titans can lose, or Texas can lose, and somehow that happens. But I don't think the Colts are good enough. I think they'll slip up. They have a tough game against the Broncos, but after that it's like Tennessee, New England, and Jacksonville. I mean, not the easiest schedule, but they're not. I don't think they're any good. They'll slip up here or there. They'll probably go 2-2 and not get in. That's my prediction.
I will say I also love Jordan's draft content. I just like to bring a little bit of emotion out of him. I like to fire him up a bit.
Yeah,
I know,
good for the soul.
Hey, it's good that someone's got to keep everybody on their toes, okay? And when your season's going as bad as this, we got to bring the entertainment somehow. Speaking of that, guys, this video sponsor is BetUS, and we have some different football things going on right here. Of course, week 15 games. Also, the FBS playoffs. There are, I'm gonna go ahead and check mark this. We can look at different odds, FBS playoffs, and there's also NFL season awards. If there was a most disappointing coach award, I think we'd get that, but we're not going to touch that. If we go on down, overall picks, also Travis Hunter and the NFL draft, we can take a look at that. And we can even look at AFC South odds. Actually, I'm not going to look at that. It's the Jaguars and Colts, or Jaguars and Texans are eliminated. So nothing to see there. Okay, so we'll display selected. We'll see what we have going on here. So the Jaguars this upcoming Sunday, 3-point favorites, or 3-point underdogs, I should say, +3 over under 40.5. I don't know if we want to quickly give our predictions. I think,
40 points. Okay.
What do you think?
In what world is Mac Jones and the Jaguars gonna hit 20 points?
Dude, did you not see him cooking against? I don't know. Didn't he score some touchdowns against the Texans? I forget.
Pretty sure he has more quarters without scores than he does with. So
he's a Jacksonville guy though, so that gives him a 3-point swing.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
The Prowler is going to give him the power.
The Prowler.
Can we cancel the Prowlers? Can we cancel the throwbacks this weekend? We don't deserve them. We don't deserve them. But
I'm with you there.
I don't know this one. We can go quickly. I don't know if we want to do score predictions. What do you guys think about this upcoming game? I'll start. I think the Jaguars lose 23-17. How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, I think the Jags will lose. I think they might cover the spread though. But I think they'll lose. I'm thinking this one's like similar to Vikings Jags, similar to Titans Jags. Like the Jets are a better football team talent wise than the Jaguars, but they are not very good either. They're not.
No.
They've lost a lot of
close case study because dude, they are so talented all over the place, but they have a meddling owner.
Yeah,
They
and
have a
they've lost
meddling owner.
9 of their last 10 games.
Yeah. No, and,
Um,
and it's crazy that they have Pro Bowlers, they have all pros on that team, they have a Hall of
Yeah.
Fame quarterback. I think they're a classic case of like, dude, you got to have a winning culture in there. You got to have a good organization. And yeah, I mean, that's one thing where I say, like, I think the Jaguars' job is somewhat attractive because our our owner doesn't meddle. So I don't know. Go on.
I'm gonna
Thorne,
say
I'm sorry.
Jets 17, Jags 14.
All right, and Jason. Our,
Okay, I had to take a
gambling
second here.
expert.
I'm sorry. I had a friend text me just now. Evan Ingram has supported a number of charities, including the Tom Coughlin J Fund, North Florida Special Education, Special Olympics, Charity Buzz, Chubb Foundation. So I'm sorry. I apologize, Evan Ingram. I got a little riled up.
Yeah,
He's doing more than me. Okay.
Club Jaguars pro Evan Ingram. Okay.
Yep, I take it back. He's making 14 million, and he's donating some of it. I'm sure it's not for tax reasons. I'm sure it's out of the goodness of his heart. Anyways, for this game, I'm gonna probably take the Jags. I think Vegas is pretty spot on. I think the Jags lose 20-17. They're right on that 3-point spread, and they're probably right on that 40 number, but just under it would be my guess.
Yeah, so how about this? I'm just gonna put money on the. I don't really want to see the Jaguars win. Maybe score some points though. That's what was so cheap about the Jags Titans game. It's like, dude, if you're like score some points and win. Don't give me zero. Don't give me the first 3 quarters without points, and all of a sudden you get 10 points in the fourth quarter, 1 touchdown. That's a cheap win. I'm sorry, that's a cheap win. So we'll just hit the over. If we scroll on down here, we have football, college football playoffs. That'll be fun. Notre Dame's 7.5-point favorites at home against
Notre Dame.
Indiana. We have Penn State 8.5-point favorites at home against SMU. We have Texas 11-point favorites at home against Clemson. Man, some big spreads. Ohio State 7-point favorites at home against Tennessee. So these are all interesting. And now let's go into offseason mode. We have overall picks, guys. First overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, Shadur Sanders -150. And he is right behind Travis Hunter plus 165. And then those are overwhelming big ones. And then Cam Ward plus 800. The next closest is like plus 2,200 and Jalen Milroe. So yeah, I definitely think quarterback goes first. But I want to scroll down here, guys. How about Travis Hunter will be a DB? No, wait, where was it? Yesterday. So I was on here. These odds change all the time. Yesterday, there was actually the Jaguars were the favorite to actually pick Travis Hunter. Travis.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. There's too many.
He's going to be on the opposing sideline this weekend, right?
He will be. He will be. I don't know if I'm foreshadowing anything, but I think he's hurt, right? But yeah, it was like -150. Maybe I didn't click right, but yeah, it was -150. When it comes to Travis Hunter being number 1 overall pick. So yeah, we can here's some different odds here. If you guys are interested, BetUS is going to hit you up with a 150% deposit bonus up to $2,000. We can put $20 on the over on this, and maybe we can just root for points, since at this point I'm not really all about winning games. But yeah, BetUS, definitely appreciate them for powering this stream. And I want to ask you guys, man, are you guys in are you guys cheering for the Jaguars to win these games, or are you kind of in a bit of a tank mode like I am?
I don't. It might feel good for these guys right now to win some games, but it does not matter for next year's team. It absolutely does not.
It doesn't.
And that's all we should be worried about, is the future Jaguars, not the right now Jaguars.
Can people stop talking about culture for me, please?
Yeah. The culture is going to be completely different when there's a new coach. And hopefully new GM. So it's not going to matter. What does matter though is having pole position in the draft is pretty darn cool when you're able to potentially trade back and get more value, because
exactly, man,
one of these teams is desperate to draft Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward.
And this is what. And if we truly think the Jaguars are going to clean house, having a number 1 overall pick is way more attractive for a new GM than number 5 overall pick. Or number 8.
Yeah, so that's the part where I'm kind of like, I don't think that a coach or general manager that's worth much is going to say, well, this team has the first overall pick and this team
All I'm
has the
saying, it
fifth
doesn't hurt.
overall pick,
It
and
doesn't
that's
hurt.
how I'm going to make my decision.
It doesn't hurt.
I would hope that's not exactly how it's going.
It doesn't hurt though.
Yeah, I mean, I think in reality it does, though. I mean, when you look at these guys that are trying to make the best move for their future, how do you not account those things in? I mean,
Well, yeah, but like when you look at the teams now that are at the top, like, do you really look at the Giants or the Raiders as these organizations that are pillars of stability? I know the Jaguars aren't either, but at least you have an owner who's not meddling, giving you all the resources possible. You have a quarterback in place. And of course, whoever's coming in, they're going to have to be someone that wants to work with Trevor. I think most people will want to work with Trevor, but it's possible that somebody that they're interested in doesn't or isn't sold.
But also if we're being real though, like these, like I think a lot of these, these head coaches and even like scouts and everything, they know kind of maybe where the quarterbacks are going to go. And like, if all of a sudden we get closer and we're starting to see the separation between the top quarterback and the second quarterback, that's going to make that number 1 overall pick so much more valuable. And especially if you have the Giants and Raiders right behind you, they want to get quarterbacks. I mean, the Giants could give you, a bunch of picks just to move back one spot. Just, kind of like the Bears did back in the day to get Trubisky. It's just, man, like I don't know. Like I know I used to really struggle cheering for my team to lose, but I think after just Trevor Lawrence, after we got him, I've been like, okay, I understand what the overall mission is. So I'll be rooting for the Jags to lose games. And like I say all the time, people get all bent out of shape on Twitter. You guys can cheer for this team however you want. If you want to Jaguars to win some games, go ahead and cheer. But don't get mad at me if I want the Jaguars. Don't get mad at me and call me less of a fan if I don't get excited after a 10-6 victory against the Titans. Don't get mad at me about it, okay?
Yeah,
I'm mad at you.
I get why people want to see decent football.
No, I'm mad at you.
You're mad at me?
Conveniently doing a Club Jaguar after a win. Wow. Yeah.
I would have found a way out of it if we had lost 10-6.
If the Jags would have lost, we would have gotten a text, hey, guys, not feeling great tonight.
And by the way, Christmas is in 2 weeks, so we'll see how if the Jaguars win or lose, if we're going to do. I'm going to demand you guys, come on. We're working tonight, guys.
That would be fun.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a little. Is it Christmas Eve? What day is it on? Christmas
It's on
Eve?
Christmas.
Exactly 2 weeks.
What else are you gonna do?
Christmas.
What else are you gonna do on Christmas? The first few hours are fun, but then Christmas night is like popping out here at the beach. I mean,
I just can't wait to like open gifts from my cheap relatives and be like, oh, a knockoff Jaguar shirt.
what is this, a Gin Jag shirt? I'm not gonna wear this.
No.
Oh man.
Hey, we use only the finest quality printers and blanks in town.
Oh,
No, I'm a
man.
big Gin Jag guy. Big Gin Jag guy.
Brother, check
One time
out.
I was wearing the quick story here for you boys. I went down to the Slab one game. I was wearing a Gin Jag shirt and went down to the Slab. I was checking out the clothing and they were like looking at me funky and I was like, why are these like, oh, well, you're at a whatever DTWD or whatever it was to be wearing a Gin Jag shirt. I was like, you kidding me? I'm supporting my boy Jordan. You think I would care about that? And you know what? They had nothing that I wanted. Nothing good that I wanted. It was.
I mean, they make a lot of cool stuff.
No, don't play the fence, Jordan. Don't play the fence. You can hype up your product.
No, I mean, they do. They make cool stuff, but, I like what we're doing over here as well.
Yeah, guys. And a lot of people were always saying, hey, man, love Jordan's hat. Dude, Jordan's always repping his stuff. Ginjag.com. He's got a shop over there. Jordan's doing a lot. Jordan's doing a lot of cool stuff, man. I'm just out here running YouTube channel. He's running websites. He's
Jordan's
running.
grinding. Jordan does good work. He always has.
Appreciate y'all, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's over here like quietly, grinding tape of next season's draft, and yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff going. I can only name.
Yeah, I want to share what Tyler Booker just said a few minutes ago, and this is a potential guard prospect that if he was there with the Jaguars' second round pick, I'd be running to the podium. I would even consider trading up for him, not like high up in the first round, but like if he's there sitting there late 20s, I'd consider it. So I guess Alabama football has a podcast called The New Wave, and he was featured on it. And he was talking about. He said, "I'm finna hit this dude in the mouth for 60 minutes till he taps out." And then he said, "I eat or you eat, and I'll be damned if I go hungry on that field." And I just think that he brings the type of mindset, and you can see it in his play as well. That one of those types of guys that Jason talked about that I think is just going to bring that it factor to whichever team he lands on. And he's a big physical dude. He's going to punch you in the mouth. Like he said, you see it. So I think that would be a lot of fun to be able to land someone like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should prioritize. I mean, we need some dogs on this team. We really do.
Definitely need dogs. You know, so Steve asked this question. UCF, I'm not mad at you for cheering for the Jags to lose, but a question though, don't you play to win the game? Dude, we are 3-10, bro. The best we can do is go 7-10. In an ideal world, yes, you play to win the game. But dude, no, you also got to.
We're not playing the game.
No, we're not.
The players and coaches, yes, they are playing to win.
Yes,
absolutely. Like, I don't think anyone should be rooting for players and coaches to be not trying to win. You should just be, if it's your prerogative, I think it's fair to say, I just hope that they don't win because they're not very good and I want change.
Like, I want the Jaguars to be a great team. I want the Jaguars to eventually reach a Super Bowl. And how do you do that? You got to get good players. And the higher draft pick you get, the better player you're going to get. The more flexibility you have where, you know, maybe you just want to sit there and get Travis Hunter. You want to mess with moving back. Or you can even move back and accumulate however many picks you want. I mean, look at the Bears. The Bears a couple years ago, you know, they got the number 1 overall pick. They were able to move back all the way with the Carolina Panthers get a first-round pick. The next year, the Panthers had the number 1 overall pick that belonged to the Bears. And they were able to get their franchise quarterback, Caleb Williams. It's just, dude, having a top pick is so much better than if we win out, we go 7-10. We're drafting like number 13 in the draft. Like, it's.
I think to summarize it is for the people that are upset, because I mean, I found myself at the beginning of the game rooting for the Jags to win, and then at the end of the game, I was like, I kind of hope we blow it. But if I like synthesize it, I think I was just hoping that the young guys look good and we still lose because, like Jordan's brand, we're generation Jags fans. We have been fans from the beginning. We are Jags fans more than we are 2024 Jags fans. So we want this team to have sustained success, and the highest probability of sustained success is getting the best player available in the draft, and that comes by losing the next 4 games. And again, I want the Jags to be good for a long time. I want them to open the new stadium with just this baller team, and I don't want to be this middling of the road team with middling of the road coaches and GMs. I want to be like the Lions. I want to turn it around. I want to be dominating the league. I want a culture, Dalton's favorite word, that is a winning culture, and that's what I want. So if that takes losing the next 4 games, I'm good with that.
And let's not forget the Lions kickstarted their rebuild by trading away Matthew Stafford and getting 2 first-round picks. Like, they got a bunch of draft capital. They used it wisely, and now they are like right now they look like the best team in the NFL. Yeah. They may not win the Super Bowl, but right now at this moment they're the best team in the NFL. So
they also made an interesting decision at the top of the 2022 draft.
What, getting Aiden Hutchinson,
who still has 4 more pressures than Travon Walker, by the way.
Okay, so we're gonna get through. We got some super chats here.
Trayvon is a good player.
I agree.
Wasn't the right pick.
I agree.
He's a good
still
player.
Has
but not the
4
right
more
pick.
pressures.
I only look. People get mad at me for talking about, you know, Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker.
You can't just be objective and say like, yes, Trayvon's good, but he was not the right pick. Like, let's get real, folks.
That's what we've been saying. That's what we've been saying.
Tegan says, thoughts on other coaching candidates? You know, we can probably get into this maybe next week. We got a lot of time to get into this. You know, this is a whole topic that we can't get into before the end of the show, but we'll get into it at some point, man. He also says, are Tennessee fans worse than Houston fans? Still, no. Houston fans, after they're selling merch, free Aziz and all this stuff, and like, come on, bro. Like, I cannot believe there's a legit debate out there that was not a dirty hit. Like, bro, come on.
Yeah. And then you see, you know, Tua slide when the defender's right in front of him, and the defender just touches him down, what you're supposed to do.
How about the first play on the Jags offense? Mac Jones scrambles and slides head first, and the defense had no problem not getting a helmet-to-helmet hit on Mac Jones. It's crazy how that happened.
it's
I still have more bad blood for Tennessee overall. I think this is just kind of a blip.
Also
Houston
for me,
has had the Jags numbers for a long time, though. I mean, those are both pretty heated rivalries.
I still hate the Colts more than any of them. Peyton
I
Manning.
Wow, so we're all
Manning,
different. We're all
listen,
different.
I know. Listen, I still hate the Colts more than any of these teams.
That's
I will
crazy.
never like
I'm
the
different.
Colts.
So Jordan's Titans, I'm Texans, you are Colts.
Yes.
That's insane.
Dude, the Colts are just, nice Midwest people.
No.
Their fans
we also
are
have the
nice
Colts
for the
number,
most
bro. We have the
part.
Colts number. We don't have the Texans number.
Nope.
The
Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck days, I forgive, but I don't forget. That's for sure.
The thing about that is, like, when they actually did beat them back then, it felt like you won the Super Bowl. It was so exciting. But the damn
also, we're going
Titans, I mean,
12-4,
that's the oldest
not-
rivalry they have.
Yeah.
And the most bitter.
It's
No, I
just
get
for
it.
me,
And again,
maybe since
the last
maybe
3 years, one of those teams has eliminated the other one from playoff contention.
I get it.
I think a big
So
thing for
there's
me
a-
is I was born in like 93. I wasn't watching the Jags in the 90s. So maybe because of that,
Oh,
I'm not,
99. It's the most brutal
Yeah.
thing ever.
I get it.
All right, so get through some of these. Augustin says, before the season ends, I would like Travis to join Club Jaguar with all three of you on stream. I would love to see how all four of you will be on the Jaguars. Love to hear your thoughts. And we can try to make that work. Travis is always coming on. I always get scared to do 4 people because that's a lot of it's a lot of people. And on average, if it's a 60-minute show, that means everyone's only talking for 15 minutes. But I'll see if he wants to come on.
And then I'll take up 45 minutes of it. So that's just a bad formula.
Well, Jason will I'll make Jason, kind of on the big screen, and I'll just have him yell at Travis and Jordan and try to just get them angry because that's what he does. That's I mean, if you guys think he's bad on Jordan, you should see how he is on Travis.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
I've been this way my whole life.
But yeah, Travis always coming on Jason's Friday night shows, so it's it's a good watch. It's a good watch. Biggs 904, the $5 donation. Thank you guys so much. We're closing out the show here soon, so if you guys have any last questions you want to bring in here, I do read all super chats. He says, play that fence, LMAO, Dalton, Jordan, Jason, and fellow Jags fans. Next year, everything goes like it was supposed to. We are coming next year. Yeah, and that's what's so cool. Like in the NFL, like I literally feel like you can flip a team in 2 years. And if you have number 1 overall pick and you trade back, it can flip much quicker. So everything goes back to the NFL draft, man. It really does.
Yeah, I think they have like an average roster right now. And, if coaching was better, they'd be like about average right now. If you have an average roster with a quarterback,
yeah,
I mean, you can flip that thing quick. There's no reason next year the goal should not be winning the division and making the playoffs and competing.
And that's what stinks so much is like we have another down year of Trevor Lawrence, and we can defend it. I mean, we can defend it all we want, coaching, organization, whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's had 2 years in a row where he's been, he just hasn't put up the type of numbers and the type of wins that we've wanted to see.
I mean, last year when he was healthy through week 13, he
true.
was absolutely balling.
Yeah, no, he was good.
Now here we go. The stipulations.
He was. I mean, this year
when the sun
he was
the
up
moon's
and
in
down
the
this
third
year. I mean, there's
equinox
no
was
question
not
about
that
that.
bad.
What?
When the moon's in the waxing crescent, he's pretty good.
13 games to start the year.
That's quite the amount of games to cherry pick out of his entire career.
He played great at the end of 2022 as well. And that's not cherry picking. I mean, he played like half the season during his second year, his first year in Doug Peterson's system. And he put that team on his back to make the playoffs. Look,
Okay,
I think it's fair to say this was not a great year. Like, this was not a step in the right direction, regardless of the circumstances around him. But I don't think it's fair to talk about 2023 or 2022 in that same light.
Or 2021. Or
Dude, Urban.
Bring back Urban. Bring back Urban.
Wow.
No, I love Trevor. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
That might have been the worst roster the Jaguars have ever had. And dude, honestly, Marvin Jones, before Brian Thomas, Marvin Jones was the best outside receiver that Trevor Lawrence had in his career.
Honestly, he's probably the second. He's probably the second best he's had in his career.
He still is, yeah, and he's still, I think Brian Thomas Jr. will get there, but he's still a better catch point player.
Well, he had T. Higgins at one point.
I mean, I wish the
Bring him back.
Jaguars.
Bring him back.
I wish like Marvin Jones, I feel got so many opportunities for like back shoulder throws and corner of the end zone throws. Like, I just feel like they don't feed Brian Thomas Jr. with the same. Like, I don't know. It's like, dude, this guy has been like sleeping throughout the whole entire season, and he's about to get 1,000 yards receiving. I feel like Calvin Ridley last year had to work his butt off, and it was like manufacturing targets, getting him the ball in every way, and he barely got there. Like Brian Thomas Jr. has been sleeping throughout the season. He's about to be there. It's like, gosh, he's got so much potential. It's just like the Jaguars aren't unlocking it. And that's been the whole thing. That's been the whole key with this team is like in this coaching staff. It's like, dude, you have players like we've gone through, this roster, and it's like you have players that they're just not unlocking the potential of them. And, it's going to take a good coach to come in here, analyze this roster, and all of a sudden have these guys playing a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, how many targets is he average per game?
I mean, there's no reason this guy he'll have halves without any targets.
That's what I was about to say. Break down the halves. Break down first half targets.
Right. I can't go into all that right now, but
that's been a big issue. That's been a big issue with him. It's like he'll be disappeared, and all of a sudden the targets comes in bunches, and it's like he'll get 3 plays in a row. But it's like, yeah, but why can't you have scripts, or maybe not scripts, but whatever the first drive. Okay, this is our plays of first drive. Why is Brian Thomas Jr. not getting manufactured targets in there? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And
so he's played 13 games, 85 targets. That's 6.5 targets per game. I mean, those are you got to get those numbers up. I mean, he should be averaging 10 targets a game minimum.
Yeah, for a team without Christian Kirk, without Gabe Davis, it's. And even I don't even think Parker Washington's getting enough targets either.
He's not.
No.
If you were some sucker that bet on over 3.5 catches for Parker Washington, you're kicking yourself right now. Yeah. Hate to be that guy.
It's annoying. All right. Tekken says thoughts on people saying draft Genty, trade ETN. So I'll go to Jordan. Is Genty? Is he expected to go in the top 10?
Well, he's a top 10 talent. I don't know if he will go in the top 10 because it's running back. But I mean, he's a top 5 talent for me.
Yeah.
But, running back, I mean, it's a loaded running back class too.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to sit here and say that that's what the Jaguars should do, even though I think Genty is going to be awesome.
I just can't imagine that to be the move. And there'll be teams that are built to be able to draft him, kind of like the Cowboys were when they drafted Elliott, and these different teams that it's like all of a sudden a running back kind of unlocks it. But I don't know. You got to be.
How much do you think Jordan? And again, I really don't know. How much do you think is it a product of? I mean, obviously he's put up insane numbers, but how much do you think of that's a product of the competition versus his true talent that translates to the NFL?
Well, he kicked Oregon's ass, and they got a lot of NFL defenders on that field. So I mean. He's incredible. I think he's going to be great. I really do. But again, if you don't have an interior offensive line that can run block, what's the point?
I mean, just look at the Eagles with Saquon Barkley. It's like Saquon Barkley is finally unleashing himself now that he's with an offensive line that can actually block. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but he hurdled somebody backwards.
No, I didn't see that.
I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah,
I think I missed that one.
Yeah,
I missed that.
It was against a crappy team, so maybe it doesn't matter.
It had to have been.
Oh man, but all right, guys, that'll probably close out this show. We appreciate everyone for being here. Also, guys, please do us a favor, drop a like on the stream. It's gonna help us out. I know we're in the dog days right now. It sucks. We're 3-10. I was hoping that we barely even talk about upcoming game. It would be awesome if we were like, oh yeah, we got the Jets coming in. How are we gonna stop Garrett Wilson? Aaron Rodgers, but we're not in that mode right now. We're talking 2025 where it's not a very fun time, but we appreciate everyone for being here. Also, guys, in the description box, we have Jordan and Jason's channel. Jordan, tell us a little bit about what's going on over at Gen Jag.
Yeah. So I've been taking a look at how the Jaguars can address different position groups this week into 2025, and not necessarily saying what I think they should do, but the different options they have for some position groups. And then tomorrow morning or afternoon, I'm not sure yet, but tomorrow I'm going to tell y'all why you should watch the Jaguars play football this weekend.
Oh wow, you're gonna
Tough
have to sell me
assignment,
on
but
that
I'm
one.
going to do it.
I think I need to watch that.
Yeah. I think
I'll be
the
there
reason
for
I
y'all.
watch is because I have a YouTube channel. How about you, Jason? What you got? You got a show coming up Friday?
Yeah, I mean, just the plan. Things kind of unravel. You know how things go. But I will be at the Jags game on Sunday, and so a lot of times I meet up with people that watch our YouTube channels, and we meet up either at tailgates or at Sky Patio, Bud Zone type area. We have a great time. So if you're going to the game, hit me up on DMs. I'll get you a drink, and we'll watch the Jags do what they do on Sunday.
All the magic happens in Jason's DMs. Okay.
Hey,
So,
listen. Hey, listen. We don't need to get into that, but yeah, there's some magic in the DMs.
There is some magic in the DMs always with Jason. But all right, guys, we definitely appreciate all you guys for being here. Like I said, subscribe to these guys. Let's help grow the Jaguars community. Subscribing is free. And, these guys put out some great Jaguar content. Also, a big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this show. Like I said, 150% deposit bonus. If you go to BetUS and use promo code YouTube150. And with all that said, we really appreciate all you guys so much for being here on this episode of Club Jaguar. We will be back next week, pending the outcome of the Jets game. In all seriousness, we do plan on being back next week, and really appreciate all you guys so much for being here, and go Jags.